Kåre Tveter was a painter of silence and solitude. His paintings describe the metaphysical behind what we see and sense. We feel that he was both at home on earth and also a stranger to the world and its existence. He spent his life listening to nature's secrets and transformed them into his art.
Anne Marit Muri, let me congratulate you on producing a beautiful book about one of Norway's greatest landscape painters, a man called Kåre Tveter. And Tveter is one of our chairman, Mr. Torstein Hagen's favorite painters.
Yes, he has good taste.
Yes, I agree.
And Viking also, of course. So I visited some of the ships last year, and I was so proud to see so many of Tveter's paintings on board. I think Kåre Tveter's painting makes Torstein Hagen's mind a little bit more silence. He told me when I met him that when I look at Kåre Tveter's painting, I feel some inside silence. So the picture gives me a kind of peace when I look at them.
Yeah, they have a kind of meditation, sort of a meditative feel to them, don't they? Definitely. How did Kåre Tveter come to be painting here?
Well, first of all, the chief of the community here in Nittedal came to us and asked, do you have a place where a well-known painter can come and have his own atelier?
So did you immediately agree that this painter could come and work here?
Yes, we did, because at this farm we have an old big building. It was usually an old mill, and on the top of the mill there is a big room, even the double size of this room, and it was empty, and it had windows from east, and Kåre Tveter, he just loved it.
It sounds perfect for an artist's studio.
That's right, because the light is supposed to come from north and east when you paint. So Kåre Tveter, he moved in quite fast.
And what were your first impressions of him?
He was a silent man. He was hardworking. I didn't talk much to him in the beginning, because he wanted to, be there. Nobody should know he was there. It was a secret place. Torstein Hagen, the chairman of Viking, he grew up just close here, at this farm, in a little red house with his family. Yeah. His sister Marit and his father and mother. And his dad, he actually worked for the owner of this farm. He was the manager of the mill. And he was also an accountant. And he was the owner's right hand.
Yes, did both men share a sensitivity to the closeness of the beautiful nature around here?
Yeah, that's for sure. They both did. Because Hagen, you know, he lived in the nature. And he was very close to the forest. And the Kåre Tveter, he also was very close to the forest from when he was small. He also lived in this little red house. Yeah. And they both got very close to the sky and to the forest and to the light. So I think they share that sensitivity for nature.
Before we talk about the paintings, maybe we could talk a little bit about the man. So tell me, what kind of man was he?
He was born in Sør-Odalen in 1922, and he lived until 2012. I suppose maybe he was a little bit shy man. I think he was very down to earth, and he was a kind of a lonely man, I think. He was very close to nature. He was born in a place in Norway. He saw the beautiful surroundings around him, and I think he had a kind of a poetic mind. I have listened to his voice, and that's so beautiful. And maybe that also says something about his personality. I think he had a very, very human heart, a very kind heart. And I think also he sensed the essence of nature with his mind.
Because he didn't originally start as a painter. He came to painting quite late in his life, didn't he?
Yes, that's
And what was he doing
correct.
before he became a painter?
He was an accountant before he started painting for a professional art life. And I think he grown up in a very small little house. The family wasn't really poor, but they haven't a lot of money. So I think he wanted to secure his family because he was a family man in very early life. He had 3 children and a wife, and he wanted to support the family. And then he think that I must have income who can protect my family, his family.
And then, did he paint, or was he always painting while he was working in as an accountant, and then decided one day that he could make a full-time career of this?
He always started painting from he was a little boy. He painted a stunning painting. He was only 5 years old, and that was of his grandfather. And the family, they were shocked about this painting because it was so nice done. And so he had a special talent. He was born with the talent for paint, I think, and make drawings. He was a little bit worried about incomes, so he had to secure family, as I mentioned. But in a way, Kåre Tveter has a very nice relationship with his employer. And they support him the first year when he wanted to go to study art. He wanted to be a professional artist. He went to the National Academy and he got a professional education with support from his employer.
Now let's talk about Svalbard, because I think, are all the paintings in the book from Svalbard?
Yes.
And he had a very special relationship with Svalbard, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But tell me, how did he come to visit Svalbard? And for anybody who doesn't know, I should just say that Svalbard is a small archipelago right up in the Arctic Circle. So how did, in the north of Norway, how did Tveter come to visit Svalbard for the first time?
Tveter visited Svalbard for the first time early in the 1980s, and he was invited by the Longyearbyen lokalstyre. Someone working there had seen a television program broadcasted at NRK, And in this program, Kåre Tveter, he described how strong the winter was in his mind. He found all his most greatest paintings and motifs from the winter, because I think he felt that when the nature rests and the nature was so pure, he find something similar in his mind with the light in the winter time. So you can really feel from that film that his expression of painting winter was something coming from a deeper inner soul from his mind. So the people at Longyearbyen lokalstyre, they invited him, and he think, well, maybe I should go, I don't know, because he didn't find a lot of motifs outside Norway. He went to French and he went to Italy, but he never felt that kind of stunning and amazing emotion about this landscape. But in a way, he think, okay, I go to Svalbard.
Because I've been to Svalbard twice, and it's true that there is a very special feeling with the light in Svalbard that you don't really see anywhere else because it's so far north. And Tveter, he went back, I think, 10, 15 times? He kept going back, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah. He went, as I said, in the early 80s, and he went back every year until 1998. I think his best motifs is painted from Svalbard, because he finds some similar in the landscape with his inner mind. He finds the light very stunning, and he also finds that landscape, the brutality in the landscape. He felt something like loneliness on this planet. I think he felt that he wasn't really home at Earth. And when he came to Svalbard, it gave him a resonate in his inner mind. This brutal climate and this beautiful white landscape, so clean. The landscape was very clean. I think that was the real reason that he wanted to paint from Svalbard, was the stunning light and the brutality of the landscape, and also the feeling of the loneliness inside, and that resonated in his mind.
Well, you explained that really, really beautifully. Yeah, I mean, it's true. When we look at the paintings, you understand that the subject matter is the landscape, but the real subject matter is the light. He's a painter of light and incredibly delicate tones. Tell me something about his technique.
Well, he wants to make essence of nature. That was his really main point. And I think to make that very thin layer of oil, he used turpentine, so that the paintings look like watercolors paintings. And he also wanted to make essence of nature, and in a way he was a minimalist in expression, but also I think he wants to give the light and the shadow and the fog and everything you can sense in the nature that you don't see, but you can feel. I think that was the main thing. He don't want to paint everything he looked in the nature, but mainly what he felt in the nature.
And many times he flew over Svalbard, didn't he? And when he was on the land, would he paint from the landscape, or would he take photographs and then paint from the photographs, or was it just from his imagination?
He never take drafts in the nature. He never paint outside. He was a studio painter, and he sensed the nature, and he don't take any photos of any of the places at Svalbard. He saw the landscape from different kind of views, from flight, from boat, by foot, and he kept the site in his inner mind. And in the evening, the picture came back to him, and in the morning, he went into the studio and paint.
Because when you look at the paintings, they're so delicate, you almost feel that if you turned away, somehow the paint would just disappear from the canvas. They just have this very light touch to them. What was his... Was he immediately successful with his paintings? Tell me something about his reputation in Norway.
He was a huge popular artist in Norway, and the National Museum purchased about 40 paintings from Kåre Tveter, and I think that's incredibly high numbers. So that's give him a huge reputation, and people in Norway love him because that he paint Norwegian nature. So I think they take him into his heart, and also because of his way of behave, because he was a shy man, and he was, as I said, down to earth, and I think Norwegian people can feel similar to him in a way.
We should talk about later in Tveter's life. It's not a happy ending. In 1988 he had a stroke which changed everything for him.
Yes, he got a stroke in 1988, and at that moment he was on the top of his career. And in 1998 they made an exhibition with Kåre Tveter in the National Gallery. That says something about his reputation. But after he got a stroke, he was hide himself from the public, and he lived with his wife, and he just painted some small Christmas card. That was the only paintings he could make, because the arms doesn't function, and he was a very critical man about his own art. So he wouldn't pass away that kind of picture he made from his last 14 years.
Tveter was very fond or influenced by poetry and music. Could you tell me a little bit about what he liked in particular?
I think music play a very important role for Kåre Tveter, and also poetry. And he had a close friendship with a very famous Norwegian poet called Hans Børli. And they was from the same area. They had a childhood in a small town and went into the forest, and they had the same essence of feeling of the nature. So Hans Børli is maybe the most influential poet of Kåre Tveter, because he described nature in very few words and very down to earth. And also, like Kåre Tveter, he makes some essence of art with his words, and Kåre Tveter makes essence of nature with his painting. When it comes to music, I feel that he could sense the musicality in the nature. And as I also told you, I had heard his voice. It's like hearing a musical voice. It's so beautiful. So his inner mind, I think, was a kind of a musical mind, and you can see it in the paintings also.
Any particular music?
He preferred classical music. It was music without words, only the sounds of classical instruments. And he used to listen to different kinds of classical musicians, but also
Gregorian chants.
Yes.
rather like the idea that you had on your property this secret artist in a secret place making these beautiful paintings. Did you ever go and visit him during the day? And I mean, could you just go and knock on the door and have a coffee? Or?
I did go and knock on his door, but maybe after 3-4 months, I met him. He had talked quite a bit with my husband, and he introduced me to Kåre, and we got along quite well, just, by the first meeting. So after a while, I went down there, I knocked on his door, and he invited me in, and we sat down and started talking.
And became friends?
We became good friends. It was very nice. It was a special relationship because we were both very interested in both art and different kinds of art, both paintings but also music and poetry.
Because you're a very visual person yourself, and you have now a big collection of Tveter's paintings.
Yes, we have.
Especially in this room, where we see them on the walls. They look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
And how long was he here for?
It feels like a very long time. He came in 1995. He painted here for only 3 years. He got a stroke in 1998, but he kept the atelier for some more years, maybe, to get better and start painting again, but he never did. But we kept the contact. Kåre Tveter said, "There is no such thing as a perfect picture." It was almost or always the hike for the picture, the hike for the picture, yeah. And he never said he was on the top of his career. He was just, on the way. He was always on the way, I think, on the move.
But he was at this time. He was well known, wasn't he? I mean, he was famous.
He was famous and well known, and he was getting older, and very reflective. And but I think he would just keep on painting and painting, but he did not have a very high picture about himself. He hadn't so much a self-confidence. He was just painting. That's what was driving him all the time. The colors, the mood, and the silence.
Was he a religious man?
No, I think he was not actually religious in that kind of way that you believe in one God. Mm-hmm. I think he was religious in another dimension, that he saw something mysterious in the nature, and he felt God in the light and in the shadows. And when the light turned to the water, the surface of the water, he could feel God in this light from heaven, I think. So he was kind of a religious man, but not in a traditional way.
And Marit, congratulations once again on putting together this beautiful book about an artist that I didn't know about until I met you. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of people who'll be watching right now. Thank you very much for talking to me.
And thank you very much for talking to you.